Welcome to another episode of The Truth Clean by Roobi. For so many of us, the day just doesn't really start, until you have that first perfect cup of coffee.
It's a ritual.
It is. And we invest in these incredible machines, we search for the perfect beans, but what most of us don't realize is there's this silent enemy working inside the machine.
And it's working relentlessly. And that's really what we need to talk about today.
Yeah.
This isn't just about being fussy. It's about mechanical integrity.
Right.
It's about understanding why maintenance, specifically descaling, is probably the most critical thing you can do to protect that ritual.
Because if you skip it, you're not just getting a bad cup of coffee.
You're sacrificing taste, you're sacrificing efficiency, and you're dramatically shortening the life of your machine.
So that's our mission today. We want to cut through some of the confusion and give you a bit of a technical shortcut to really understand what's happening inside that machine, why these deposits form, and, how they're stealing both flavor and energy.
Exactly. So you won't just learn what to do, you'll really get why you're doing it and why the choices you make, right down to the descaler you pick, have these huge implications.
For the machine, your electric bill, and even the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack the main problem. We hear this word limescale all the time, but what? What are we actually fighting?
Well, we're fighting geology, really, and a little bit of chemistry.
Okay.
At its simplest, limescale is just calcium and magnesium carbonates. These are minerals that are, naturally dissolved in our tap water.
Especially in hard water areas, right?
Exactly. And when you heat that water up, say past 60 degrees Celsius, which every coffee machine does, the water evaporates, but the minerals get left behind, they precipitate out, and they start bonding together, forming that hard, chalky stuff we call limescale.
And I think most people just picture a tiny little blockage, but the damage is so much more insidious than that, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It's a slow-motion attack, really. You can break the damage down into two immediate threats.
Okay.
The first one is what we'd call hydraulic resistance. The scale just narrows all the internal pipes and the little valves.
So it's literally choking the machine.
It is. The pump has to work so much harder to force the water through, and that's where you get that sound people talk about, that tired, wheezing sound.
That's the machine literally crying out for help.
It is, but that's not even the biggest energy thief in this whole scenario.
Really? What is?
The second, and I'd say more costly threat, is thermal insulation.
Ah, okay.
Limescale is an incredibly poor conductor of heat, so it builds up this layer around the machine's heating elements.
So the heater has to fight to get through this mineral barrier just to heat the water.
Exactly. It has to stay on for much, much longer to get the water to that optimal temperature, that 92 to 96 degrees you need for a good extraction.
That sounds like a huge waste of energy. Is there any way to quantify it?
We can, actually. Research shows that just a 1 millimeter thick layer of scale.
Wow, that's tiny.
It is. But it can reduce the efficiency of that heating element by 10% or even more.
And that goes straight onto your electricity bill.
Directly. And over time, it leads to component failure because the elements are just constantly overheating.
So if the machine is struggling for pressure and it's struggling to get up to temperature, the coffee itself must be, well, a disaster.
A total disaster. Especially if you really care about your coffee. Good extraction is all about precise, stable temperature. If the water is even a little bit too cool because of that scale, you get under extraction.
And that's what makes it taste sour.
Or flat.
Sour, flat, metallic, yeah. The delicate flavors just haven't been properly dissolved. The machines simply can't preserve the full aroma of the bean. The taste is just not right.
So without regular maintenance, you're looking at a shorter lifespan for the machine, higher running costs, and at the end of the day, just terrible coffee.
That's the bottom line. Okay, so that really makes the case for why we have to descale. Let's talk about the how, because I think a lot of people's first instinct is to just, reach into the pantry.
The homemade dilemma.
Right. And the classic one is always vinegar.
Of course. Vinegar or acetic acid, it's cheap, it's there. And look, it does dissolve scale.
Yeah.
But this is where the details really matter.
Okay.
Vinegar is often it's too aggressive. And more importantly, it's what we call unbuffered.
Unbuffered. What does that actually mean for the inside of a coffee machine?
It means its pH level is really low and it's unstable. So while that acid is attacking the scale, it's also attacking all the organic materials inside the machine.
Like the seals and the gaskets.
Exactly. The rubber seals, the O-rings, all the things that keep the system pressurized. Over time, that raw acid just degrades them.
Which leads to leaks.
Leaks, expensive repairs. I mean, manufacturers strongly advise against it for this very reason.
Not to mention, who really wants their morning espresso to have a faint, lingering smell of, like, pickling brine?
Nobody. It's a terrible trade-off. And that's why we really need to look at the professional alternatives.
Okay, so the liquids or the tablets that are made for this?
Right, because they're specifically formulated to be tough on the scale, but gentle on the machine's hardware.
So how do they do that? What's the chemistry that lets them strike that balance?
Well, it comes down to a much more sophisticated process. It's called chelation.
Chelation.
Yeah.
Oh.
And instead of just dissolving everything with a raw acid, chelating agents act like tiny claws.
Okay.
They specifically grab onto the calcium and magnesium ions and hold them in the water so they can be flushed away safely. But they do it without reacting aggressively with the metal parts or the polymer seals.
So it's more of a targeted strike than just a blanket chemical attack.
That's a perfect way to put it, yes. And these professional solutions are also buffered.
Right, the opposite of the vinegar.
Exactly. So their pH stays stable during the whole process. And that protects all those sensitive parts, especially if you have a machine with an aluminum thermoblock, which is much more prone to corrosion than stainless steel.
Which brings us to how you choose one. If you're standing in the aisle, what should you be looking for?
Compatibility is number one. You have to check if the descaler is universal or if it's designed for your specific machine type.
Because using the wrong one could be catastrophic.
It really could. And then there's the practical side, ease of use.
Tablets versus liquid.
Right. Tablets are just so convenient. There's no guesswork, no waste. You get a perfect dose every time. They're great for a regular routine. But liquids, they give you a bit more flexibility. So if you live somewhere with incredibly hard water or you only use your machine now and then, you can adjust the dose.
But really, the tiny extra cost for a targeted professional descaler it's nothing compared to replacing a heating element.
It's classic false economy to use vinegar. Absolutely.
Okay, and here's where the conversation gets, I think, really interesting. Because the choice of a descaler isn't just about the machine's internal health. It's also about external responsibility. Whatever you use, it goes down the drain and into our water system.
This is the sustainability pillar. And when we talk about eco-conscious descaling, this isn't greenwashing. This is about real, verifiable impact.
Okay, so what should we be looking for?
I think there are three critical things. The first and most obvious is the ingredients.
The chemical makeup, what are the big pollutants to avoid?
Well, you want to look for products that are certified biodegradable, and you want to make sure they're free from things like phosphates and EDTA.
Why those specifically?
Phosphates contribute to what's called eutrophication in water. That's the overgrowth of algae that chokes out aquatic life. And EDTA is really persistent in the environment. It's hard for water treatment plants to filter.
So a good sustainable descaler uses ingredients that just break down safely and quickly once they're flushed away.
Exactly. You're protecting your local ecosystem.
Okay, so that's pillar one. What's pillar two?
Packaging. It might seem small, but the waste from millions of plastic bottles is enormous.
So we should be looking for recycled materials?
Definitely. Prioritize containers made from post-consumer recycled materials and ones that are fully recyclable themselves. Good, clear labeling for proper disposal helps too.
Right. And the third pillar goes beyond the product itself.
It does. It's about the company's ethics. You have to look at who is making this stuff.
How they make it.
Exactly. Are they using renewable energy? Are they offsetting their carbon emissions? Do they avoid animal testing? This kind of holistic view transforms your purchase.
It becomes more than just a cleaning product. It becomes, like the source said, a small statement of intent.
That's it.
But that seems like a really high bar to clear. High performance, total safety for the machine, and environmental integrity.
It is a high bar, but it's not impossible. It's actually achievable. When you look at products that specifically commit to natural, biodegradable organic acids and combine that with a real framework for environmental responsibility, you see that you don't actually have to compromise.
So you're talking about products like the ones Roobi makes?
Well, yes. They're a perfect example of this. They show you can have really potent descaling power that is still gentle on your machine and, completely benign to the environment when it goes down the drain.
So choosing an eco-friendly descaler isn't just about cleaning, it's about aligning that daily ritual with your values.
Yeah, let's talk about how that translates into a routine. Because the goal here is to shift from being reactive.
Waiting for the wheezing sound.
Right, to being proactive, to practicing care. And frequency is the key here. It really depends on your water hardness.
So you have to check your manual.
The manual is your best friend.
Right.
But you might need to adjust. If you have really hard water, you might need to descale every month. Soft water, maybe every 3 months. But doing it regularly is so much more important than doing one massive, intense clean.
Because the small, frequent cleans prevent that catastrophic buildup.
Exactly. And that's where things like tablets can really help because they make it easy. They take away the guesswork.
And simplicity encourages consistency.
Correct. And that consistency is what saves you energy. The biggest environmental win isn't always the biodegradable cleaner itself. It's the energy you save and the extra life you give the appliance.
That's a really powerful point. The carbon footprint of a machine struggling with scale could be way bigger than the footprint of the cleaner itself.
Precisely. You're preventing e-waste by prolonging the machine's life. You're reducing a constant, wasteful energy draw. So descaling becomes this powerful act of conservation.
It's not a chore anymore.
Yeah.
It's resource stewardship.
I like that. It's a respect for the appliance and for the science that gives you that perfect cup every single time.
So when we boil it all down, what does this mean? We start out talking about a daily ritual, but it seems like maintaining that machine is less of a chore and more of an act of care.
An act of care, attention, and respect. I think that's right. The crucial takeaway is to see the false economy in neglect.
Don't wait for the wheezing.
And please don't reach for the vinegar. The investment in a high-quality, eco-friendly descaler pays for itself so many times over. In efficiency, in flavor, and in the life of your machine.
Great coffee deserves a great system.
A smooth system, clean water, and a machine that's in perfect shape, supported by the right products.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to take away. The next time you choose any cleaning product for one of your appliances, think about the ingredients, the packaging, and the company behind it. Are your small daily choices, right down to how you clean your coffee maker, are they statements of intent about the kind of sustainable life you want to lead?
A great question to ponder. Prioritize that maintenance and enjoy the perfect cup.
Make that cup count. Thanks for joining us for this analysis of clean water and clear consciences. We'll talk again soon.